feel like what I thought I was buying into wasn't actually what I got.
Hey, 23 years in real estate.
That's it.
How was real estate 23 years ago?
It's changed a lot. Our big point of difference was we've got the biggest window display. We were in control of the data. Now everyone's got access to everything. I think I was born for real estate. I kind of knew I wanted to be a real estate agent from a really young age. I went and did work experience with family friends. I was just cruising around in his car all day. I'm looking at beautiful properties and I'm like, I could do this.
I love the story. Huh?
I was like the young kid. I would take signs down. I open up doors. I tried property management for about 3 months. Absolutely not for me. My boss said, I'll give you a shot at sales. Or not 3 months before I even got a lead.
Wow.
And I listed this property. Ended up setting the all-time record for land price.
Wow, that's amazing.
So from 3 months of nothing, ended up doing pretty well.
You need to take one step back to get and forward down the line. So you experienced a lot of different angles of the game,
That is the reason why I'm still here today.
which I believe complete you as a good real estate agent. How important is emotional intelligence?
I think that's what sets one and the next apart. I feel like that's why people quit.
You look good, mate.
Right back at you, mate. It's the Italian skin.
You got more hairs than me, but yeah.
Some people have got the ability to persevere through hard times, but I wouldn't take it any other way. I love it.
Aaron Del Monte, thank you very much for coming in, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, mate. Mate, 23 years in real estate.
Sit.
Wow. Okay. How was real estate 23 years ago?
Man, I got to tell you, it's changed a lot.
Yeah?
Well, the fundamentals haven't changed at all, but the way people buy real estate, man, it's changed a lot. Like the way we used to market real estate, like our big point of difference was we've got the biggest window display.
Yeah.
And nowadays, man, that's all changed.
Wow. Did you have RP data then?
No, I don't think we had RP data. No, like we were in control of the data as real estate agents. Now everyone's got access to everything.
Oh, yeah.
But people really needed real estate agents to find out recent sales, sales prices, lands, areas, and all the rest of it. So it's changed a lot.
Love it.
It's been a good change though. I feel like it's better now than it was.
Yeah, I agree. Like maybe they are more informed, but at the same time, they overthink in a certain way. You know, when you give too much information, they probably why they come to me. I use a buyer's agent.
That's exactly why they come to you.
Anyway, mate, 23 years. Wow. So let's start. You born and bred in Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney boy through and through. Yeah.
Into the Cronulla area?
Yeah, so I grew up in Cronulla. I went to school at Waverley, so I used to travel to the east.
Right.
But Cronulla was great. Like it was different type of market. I was excited to get out of there and get to the eastern suburbs real estate market.
Yeah.
But I was there for years.
Wow. And brothers, sisters?
Yeah, so I got an older brother. My brother's 18 months older than me.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in real estate?
Super smart guy. No, he's a barrister.
Oh.
Yeah, smart guy. Yeah, he's in the law.
What is he saying about when you started your career in real estate? What did he say to you?
Oh, see, I think I was born for real estate. I think my family always thought that was my game.
Right.
Yeah, mate, I kind of knew I wanted to be a real estate agent from a really young age.
Really? Did you get from anyone in the family or you just, I want to do that?
Really, I just kind of fell into it. I remember it was the most simplest thing. I remember I went and did work experience with the family friend. And
in Cronulla?
In Cronulla, down in Cronulla, down in Caringbah, actually.
Caringbah. Good spot.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's even more beautiful now. But yeah, so I remember I was in his car. It's a sunny day. It was a beautiful car. And I was just cruising around in his car all day. I'm looking at beautiful properties and I'm like, I could do this. But I feel like it's just a natural skill to want to be on the phone, making calls. Like I feel like what I thought I was buying into wasn't actually what I got. But I wouldn't take it any other way. I love it.
Yeah. So you naturally got drawn into it.
100%.
And you started as an assistant?
No. So back in the day, I started as like an office gopher. I was like the young kid. I was in year 10 working on Saturdays in real estate.
Wow.
Went through to HSC, but in year 10 on a Saturday, I used to put up signs.
Yes.
Take signs down, I open up doors. Like I was very much office junior. And then I stayed there for about 2 years part-time whilst I was going through uni and finishing school and the likes.
Yeah.
And then pretty much, straight after HSC, I got in and I was working part-time through uni, and I tried property management for about 3 months.
Yes.
Absolutely not for me. I knew that from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then my boss said, mate, property management's not working for you. I'll give you a shot at sales and we'll have another chat. And then I went into sales. I remember, I was like braces. My mum had bought me a suit. I wasn't very cool, that's for sure. But man, I was out there door knocked pretty much every day. I just door knocked. Door knocked. Took me, I reckon, 3 months before I even got a lead.
Right.
And it all started from there.
Wow. Okay. And what office was that?
So it was Ray White Carrying Bar.
Ray White Carrying Bar?
Yeah.
And that's, okay, you started working as a sales assistant.
Well, very junior. Like the sales associates today are a lot more senior than what I was.
Right.
But I was just giving it a go.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did you evolve? Like, when did you pivot to say, okay, now you are a full-time
fledged agent?
Yes.
So I reckon I was about, God, I was testing my memory now. I reckon I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
I remember I went into the office, like slugging it out for 3 months. I didn't really get much.
Yeah.
And my boss called me in the office and he said, mate, I've given you a go. You haven't really worked out. Like, I really want you to work out, because he's my uncle's friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, give it a little bit more time and see how we go. But he was basically saying, if you don't start doing deals, we're going to have to move you on. And I remember at that point, I was like, if you rewind 20 odd years ago, like there was no training, like there was none of that.
You need to figure it out.
Yeah, I needed to learn a lot. And then I went to this course, like it was not long after, just by coincidence, I went to a course with Mark McLeod. And it was the first official training I'd ever done in real estate. And I was there for like an hour, maybe. And I walked out of there like a different man. Like, I'm like,
really?
I knew dialogue. I knew what to say. Yes. Like, I was just knocking on doors and saying, hey, I'm Aaron.
Yeah.
And like this young kid that looked prepubescent was not getting much business. And then as soon as I learned what to say, just by coincidence, I door knocked the house like the day after I did the training.
Yeah.
And there was like a older couple that I for whatever reason, they gave me a chance. And all the door knocking I'd done before, I was smart enough to like take names and numbers, and I kind of built some data. And I listed this property, and it was the ugliest property in the whole suburb, I reckon. It had like copper ceilings and shag pile carpet and faux brick in the internal. It was horrible property. Overgrown backyard. And I remember I was just so excited to get a chance.
Yes.
So I listed it, and I ended up setting the all-time record for land price per square meter. It was a fluke, absolute fluke. And then anyway, because I got such a good outcome, I ended up door knocking everyone else and told them, hey, I listed it, I sold it, and then I invited everyone to the auction. And then off the back of that, I just kind of got a really good run. So from 3 months of nothing, within not that long, I actually
ended up doing pretty well. Back,
yeah. And then that just got lucky, man. I would suggest.
That's good. You see, like, because, now I see every time someone new come into our office, we have a bit of a training, a step by step, which I find a little bit easier compare you 23 years ago, like, mate, go and door knock.
That's it.
Oh, you got 3 months.
Do
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my question for you is, do you think, of course, training is important and must be invested on that. Do you think that this type of agent like this, they are the one that actually last in the game? It's kind of force you to build a thick skin.
I think from my experience, obviously fast forward 23 years, I think some people are good at it. Some people have got the ability to kind of persevere through hard times, persevere through rejection. So I like, from looking back on it now with fresh set of eyes, I think that it's good for some people and also good for everyone, I would suggest. Yeah.
So, okay, that's a very good point. So this is not for everyone. There are some people can develop and build. At the end of the day, all you want as a director is someone who's willing to put effort and develop and become good. Yes, you can become good, but there are some people that just can't handle the pressure, the rejection. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I think the best thing for me back then, like, it wasn't glitz and glamour. Real estate wasn't that then. Like, it was like, you look at the money that real estate agents make now.
Yeah.
Back then, the average. So when I set the all-time price per square meter, I think it was a house, 600 square meters thereabouts. And I think I sold it for like 400 grand.
Wow.
So and you think about it, you get 2% of 400 grand. Like, it wasn't huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
It was big for me because I was so young.
Yes.
And I reckon my office at the time, I probably got paid 20% of the split.
Wow.
So the money then wasn't what it is now. Like, I think it's a very different market. So I wasn't attracted to the industry from the money. I was just attracted to the industry because I loved real estate. Like, I wanted to own a lot of real estate. That was my attraction to it.
Yeah.
And I knew if I learn about real estate, I learn about land values and the likes, it would set me up to be a good investor in property. So it's been a cool journey, yeah.
And have you seen a bit of a difference between the breeds of people they come into real estate now compared 20 years ago?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, back when I was there, it was a lot of older people. Like, I feel like the average age of real estate agents, from my memory, was probably, I reckon, 50s. Like, it was a much older industry from my memory back then. Yeah.
They were all
nowadays, like, you look at the talent, it's all young talent, majority of it.
Yeah.
There's like a few grey hairs in real estate, but in this market, our biggest competitors I'm 42 now.
Yeah.
These guys are all like 28, 30. Like, it's a high energy game now.
Yeah.
Very different then, though.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so you went through there, you did the course, you start selling, fantastic. What happened there? Like, you were consistent with your sales for a few years after that?
So, because I was, Mark Lucas told me, just door knock every house, get every homeowner's name and number, and just keep promoting to those people. Once you know them, just keep a patch. It's like, now we talk about core market. It was, I didn't know any of that. I just knew I'd just door knock a few houses, get some names. And so I just promoted, got another listing. And by coincidence, chance, hard work, whatever you call it, I didn't even know what market share was. It wasn't even language I knew of. But I ended up pretty much owning that area. I had about 35% market share in the area.
Wow.
In a fairly short time, yeah. And then John McGrath was, after I learnt from Mark McLeod. John McGrath was like the big, like the real estate god, to whatever they call it these days. But he was like the guy I looked up to, and he absolutely still is, in my opinion anyway. But I looked up to John, and John was eastern suburbs, high price points. Like, it was very glitz and glamour in the east, but not so much in the Shire. And then he did a free course that I turned up to and paid attention in. And then he ended up opening up an office down in Cronulla. So probably, I reckon, 2 years into me working at Ray White. And then they called me, one of the sales managers called me and said, hey, like, you're doing really well, come have a chat. And I thought to myself, I was really loyal to my office. And I'm like, oh, I'll talk to them, because who knows? And then I went through maybe one chat, very casual, second chat. And then I remember I got a call from John McGrath, and this is maybe like 3 months into them pursuing me as a candidate. And when I got the call from John McGrath, I'm like, oh God, like, what am I going to do? And then anyway, I drove from Cronulla to Randwick and met him at a car wash, and we sat down and he talked to me about, hey, we're going to make you amazing. And I'm like, I was just starstruck. I thought, this is the best thing ever. And then I left Ray White, went to McGrath, and then the training, the people I was working with, like, it was literally like, it was,
the development was
way beyond anything I'd ever experienced. And like, the people I was working with, they had like life coaches. They opened my eyes up to a whole new world.
Then, like, I'm talking about 20 years ago.
It was probably 15 years ago, 16 years ago, whatever the time frames are. Like, but it was not long after I started, and just like it was phenomenal. It changed who I was and made me, from a rookie to what I would consider a very good agent, just purely from the training. Like, I reckon we would have been in training courses every second week. So it was a phenomenal training ground.
See, that's a great message right there. So like the importance of investing on personal development, training, and even when you don't see someone that is short-term giving you the results, but it's like the investment there. And actually surprised that it this 15 years ago.
However long ago, yeah. Like John was, like, he marketed his business and it was absolutely true. It was a marketing company and it was a training company. It wasn't really necessarily a real estate agency.
Yeah.
It was just getting good people in and training them really well.
Yeah.
So I look at who I was when I started there and who I was when I finished there, like probably 13 years later.
Yeah.
And I was a different man. Like I would, in so many aspects. Things that you'd never expect. Like they taught us meditation, they taught us investing and the goal setting, like all these things as a young kid that if you're not exposed to that, you probably wouldn't even think of it.
Yeah.
But in that environment, it was just a godsend for me and my future career for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, I'm just actually impressed thinking that 15 years ago he was already understanding he's probably did it himself first.
Oh, of course he would have. Yeah, because I remember he used to fly to America and learn from all the talent over in the States.
The world.
And then he used to get all the information from there and then start implementing into Australia. So he's changed this game overall. Like you look at all the talent, like the Alexander Phillips.
Yeah.
All of most of the talent these days came out of McGrath, and I understand why. I was just lucky. I think when I started, there was about 40 odd agents in McGrath, and now there's over 5,000. And then all the people that have come and left, and what they've created beyond that. Yeah, he was genuinely a godsend for the industry, in my opinion.
Wow, what a legend! Nice, that's amazing. Okay. So you start in McGrath, you start selling, you start to become very like efficient, good with yourself. Would you say that you develop this part of yourself, which is, you mentioned on meditation, life coaching, because we are in a face-to-face of phone calls, of interaction, human contact.
Yeah.
How important for anyone getting into the real estate, you say, is to emotional intelligence, personal development, and people skills?
I think that's what sets one and the next apart, in truth. Like, I feel like if I didn't go through all that coaching, I feel like that's why people quit, because they probably don't do all that training. I feel like that's the driver. Like there's hard days. There's really hard days in real estate. There's great days in real estate. It's the highs and lows and it's trying to manage those. And I feel like that is the reason why I'm still here today. That's why I'm still so driven and hungry, because of all the things that they taught me during my early days in real estate. It was good. But the funny thing is, when I started at McGrath, not John, but my sales manager at that time, I was doing really well. Like I had good market share. I was really strong in an area. And then when I started McGrath, they told me hey, like you're doing really well in that market. Why don't we go force you into a higher price point? Like you'll make heaps more money. Yeah. And I was young. I didn't really know any better. Yeah. So my market my business went from really, really strong. And I reckon for the first 12 months in McGrath, I didn't actually do that well, in truth. I did okay. Yeah. But I didn't do anywhere near as well as I was doing prior. Yeah. And it was only and then I started learning about market share and core market. I learned that what I was doing was actually quite smart. And then I focused on something slightly different, and it really impacted my business until I got back on track.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like you need to take one step back to get 10
potentially
forward down the line.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, good managers can see that. Yeah. Because they know that at the start is going to be crap. Yeah. And you need to have as well, especially you need to have the vision that you're moving from a big ego agent and you're doing very well to starting from scratch.
Of course.
And you need to go through all the challenges in order for you to get to the point where you start to build. Okay, that's a good question on that. How long did it take you when you moved from an area where you were the guy to someone that didn't know you to actually become and get a good, decent market share in that area?
I reckon it took me about 12 months to realize that looking back at it now, I probably should have stayed in the market I was in and then focus maybe 2 or 3 hours a day in another market whilst I was still dominating the current market.
Right.
I've learned so much from my own probably mistakes that I'm really smart now with my new talent, the guys that start working for me, to really kind of train them to kind of transition rather than stop and start elsewhere. So I probably, that was a really good learning for me. It cost me a bit of money and no doubts, but it was a good learning because now I can pass on those learnings to newer people. But to answer your question, I feel like it was about 12 months transition.
12
and
months.
For me to really start to pick up. And I never, in truth, I actually never got back to as much dominance in the new market I picked up in as to what I had, which is a shame. It's a shame. But I still had a really fun career. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, still a good learning that you can take it with you and when you move to the next stage. Okay. From Cronulla, from where? Where did you move?
So I was in Cronulla for about 13 years, and then I moved to Melbourne. Actually, I'd broken up with an ex-girlfriend and thought I need a change. I was all in on real estate. Yeah, so I lived in Melbourne for about 12 months.
As a real estate, you were?
No, I got out of real estate. Actually, I got out of real estate for 12 months, and moved to Melbourne with a mate of mine. We lived there for just it was about 12 months. And then I actually met my wife in Melbourne, and then I moved her back to Sydney, and then I went back to McGrath actually as a corporate employee and not a real estate agent.
Interesting. What were you doing in 12 months? And nothing?
No, I was working in sales. I was working for a company. I actually had no idea. I just wanted a sales job. I just wanted some. I had a fair bit of property, so I had some mortgages. Yeah. So I kind of couldn't get away with no income. So I basically got on Seek, typed in sales, and then just had my resume and apply. How
you find the job?
And then I got a job. I went for a job, got a job, and it was in group buying. I don't know if you know anything. Do you know Groupon?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I worked at Groupon. It was the best job I reckon I've had outside of real estate. It was probably the only job I had ever. So, and I met my wife there. So I was working at my desk. This girl walked in at the photocopier, and then not long after we fell in love. Yeah, that's it. So
I love the story. Okay. Yeah. Okay, tell us a bit of that. What do you do? Did you say, hey, do you want to have a dinner?
No. I was a talker. And I remember our sales manager said, look, we're going to team up. You guys go like a pairs.
Yeah.
And I remember we went out and prospecting together. So we used to have to go out and door knock businesses.
For Groupon?
Yeah, for Groupon. To say, hey, we're going to get you more customers. Yes. No cost up front. Yeah. Like all you have to do is just basically discount your product a little bit. Yeah. So it's the easiest sale possible. And we went and had some fun together from a business perspective. Yeah. And I'm like, we should grab a drink afterwards, get to know each other. Yeah. And then, we fell in love pretty quickly.
Italian charm. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Okay. Very good. Nice. So when did you decide to say, okay, enough of this. I'm going to go back into the game and I'm going to go hard. When did you decide?
So do you know what? It took me years, by the way, because the problem was I was very dominant in the market down in Cronulla. Like that was my market. I worked that market for 13 years. I was one of the probably higher volume agents in that area at the time. And if I'm being truthful, I was so scared to get back into real estate in the fear that maybe I wouldn't be as good as I once was.
Right.
And so I kept looking for opportunities to not go back into sales. So I left, I came back to Sydney. John McGrath called me and said, what are you doing? Come back, like you're part of the family. Yeah. And then I started selling franchises.
Right.
So he was obviously growing the McGrath brand into rural areas, into interstate markets. And I was so passionate about McGrath naturally.
You were expanding
Yeah, so I went out there and started, and it was good for me because I always had the ambition to own a business.
Yes.
So the way you sold it was you go into businesses, you kind of understanding their P&Ls, you're helping them grow, recruit, and I thought that was something I could learn a lot with. Nice. So I did that for about 2 years. And then McGrath was going through an IPO, and that to me, when you're trying to sell a franchise, to try and go into like a Ray White, LJ Hooker, or whatever other office and say, hey, come to McGrath. It was kind of like a pretty shaky time.
Right.
That I probably wasn't, and the culture internally changed a little bit at the time for a short while. And then Paul Little. I don't know if that name rings a bell. It's the owner of Toll Holdings. He had a huge real estate agency, more from a property management perspective, and they were really struggling from sales. And just by coincidence, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, we're looking to get a sales manager to really recruit and grow sales agents. And I hadn't really done that to the extent that I probably wanted to. And I thought that was the next learning for me. So I took a role with Little Real Estate.
Yeah.
And then I was national sales manager. I got promoted to a fancy title, executive general manager of national sales.
Yeah.
And I went in there with the ability to be able to recruit people, train them, and develop and grow the sales business. Yeah, nationally.
Wow. Okay. So you experienced a lot of different angles of the game. It's not just go there, do sales. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Which I believe complete you as a good real estate agent.
Wow, it's in the making still.
Wow, that's okay. That's crazy. Okay, so you joined Paul. You helped him out, lift up the business.
Yes, I was there for about 10 years. So there was a pretty large portion of...
You look good, mate. Yeah, now 42. Okay. Sorry.
Right back at you, mate. It's the Italian skin.
Mate, you got more hairs than me, but yeah, you go, mate. So 10 years there.
10 years.
And after that, what was you? After that, you choose to get into sales, or you did something else?
No. So I was there for 10 years, and we went from, I think we were just over $1 million worth of sales revenue when I started, and it was about 12 million or thereabouts when I left. So we grew the business pretty well. I think exceptionally well. So for me, I put all my energy, effort into recruiting and training, and then I kind of got to a point where I was getting bored. The business was kind of going through shifts and changes, and it was a great business, and I was really friendly with the executive team. Like, they were my mates.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I need to do something for myself. Like, I'd gotten to a point where I bought a fair bit of real estate, which is my ultimate passion.
Yeah.
And like, my salary was limited there. Like, there was only so much money I could get.
Yeah.
And I was capped at leveraging to buy more real estate. So I had to personally make a change. And then I started thinking, well, what's the next step for me? And opportunity came up with LJ Hooker Double Bay. Bill Maloof left. I thought it was a phenomenal. LJ Hooker wasn't really the brand that I loved, but LJ Hooker Double Bay was a brand that I feel like I was really passionate about.
Yeah.
And that opportunity came up, and I'm like, I've been wanting to open a business. Everything I'd done up to that point was to build a business. All the training I'd kind of put myself through, experiences. So I'm like, let's do it. So then about 3 years ago, I bought the rights to LJ Hooker Double Bay with a partner at the time, like a good mate of mine from McGrath.
Nice. You mentioned now, before we gone into the next chapter of your life, so you bought quite a bit of real estate for yourself as an investor.
Correct.
And I see a lot of, so I have investment myself. In our culture, we help investors build property portfolio.
Of course.
I often see very good agents. They don't own real estate themselves, which in a certain way it's fine.
Yeah.
But the other way, I'm like,
it's crazy, huh?
It'll be weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what made you decide to spend money on real estate yourself, to actually kind of future-proof yourself and maybe afford to take a risky decision?
Yeah, mate, I think it's a good question. And I don't know, I'm Italian, man. My mum's Maltese, my dad's Italian. So I was drummed into my head back whenever. Like, my parents we weren't wealthy in any way, but like, my parents, it's like Italians, man. Like, every cent they had, they used to put into real estate.
Yes.
And I feel like from a young age, I don't know, I used to, like, my uncle was an electrician. My other uncle was a plumber. So I used to be interested. I used to go there and like kind of be their little sidekick helper.
Yeah.
And obviously as wogs, like you never really paid trades, like you kind of fix stuff yourself. So I learned all that as a young age.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I think I was 20 odd years old, maybe 20, 21 when I bought my first property.
Yeah.
And I remember I leveraged myself. I was like 430,000. It was a block of 4 units down in Wollongong.
Yeah.
And my parents were dead against it. Don't buy so far away. You don't know that market.
Yeah.
But I remember one time John McGrath was telling me, when you buy real estate, you buy uniblocks. And he probably doesn't even remember telling me this, but I remember kicking my mind. I'm like, shit, that sounds like a great idea, like uniblocks.
Yeah.
And then I jumped on realestate.com and I typed in, how do you find real estate? How do you find uniblocks? And then there was a button. I found one. It just made sense. I think it was like 432,000 rented for $400 a week.
A block of 4.
A block of 4 units. This is years ago.
Wow.
And I'm like, that sounds great. So I jumped in the car, drove an hour, got out to Wollongong, drove around. I'm like, this is not bad. Beaches around the corner. It was a big block of dirt. I'm like, I reckon I could do this.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of money saved. So I went and bought it. And that was the first property I ever bought. I still own it. And then I just got a bug for it and kept buying more. But for me, real estate, the whole game of real estate and wealth is owning property, not selling property. Like you'll make some money from selling real estate, no doubt. But for me, it was all about owning real estate. And that's been the driving force for me for years.
Having the investor's mindset, which is extremely important. Would you take other like business risk if you didn't own real estate?
Would I take other business? No, I wouldn't be in the position I am if I didn't own real estate. Like real estate for me has been a huge driving force. And I wouldn't be, my family wouldn't be, my personal family wouldn't be where we are unless I'd made the hard decisions back then to buy. Real estate's been everything for me, and it is. Like if you looked at my goals, the main thing beyond my family and happiness is buy more real estate.
Yeah,
I'm so driven for that.
To future-proof like your life. You know, you can. Well done. Okay, I love this. So you got some real estate, you got a lot of experience, and you said, okay, we're gonna get the franchise LJ Hooker Double Bay.
Yep.
I know the start is always painful. I know you had. You had like 10, 15 years of real estate experience before you started? No, 20 years.
20 years,
before you started.
In different ways, but 20
okay.
years.
Have you, even after 20 years, starting from scratch, have you received any surprises that like, I didn't expect that. Oh, that guy fucked me over.
Every day. I feel like it's an everyday event. I feel like it hurts less and less as you get older. But every day there's it's shocking. And I got to tell you, like working in Cronulla, and the hard part was, it's hard to remember your early days, right? Like I don't remember the struggles that I had as a young agent. Like I feel like it was so different back then because I started with very low expectations of my output. You kind of get one sale, you get excited, then you get another sale, another sale, another sale. They keep leading to another. And then you put on a team member. And so it's all very organic, the way my business grew. And back then, I didn't really, I just did it. It just organically grew. However, when I started with my own business, I was obviously a much more mature man, and I had a whole heap of expectations on myself at this point.
Right.
And when we started the business, our intention was recruit good people, train good people, and then let them kind of work within the business. And my job was to be solely recruitment. And then we went out and started talking to talent, and unfortunately, people just didn't want to move, and people didn't want to move to a business that was only fairly new.
Right.
I kind of was a little bit naive when we started,
right?
Because I thought it was going to be simple, and it was furthest thing from it, in truth. So then I thought, well, maybe we need to start selling. So my business partner at the time, myself, I thought maybe we need to start doing some deals, get some revenue in, and then off the back of our sales, we can hopefully get some younger guys, train them up, and go from there. And then the funny thing is, it's the last thing I wanted to do was sell. And probably within 3-4 months of us opening, I'm like, now I have to sell. And then I started selling, and I started getting a roll on, started doing some deals. And now I'm all in, man. I couldn't imagine anything else. I love it. I actually love it. I don't know why. It took me like probably 10 years, or if you looked at the history, maybe 10 years to get back into it. And I'm like, why didn't I do it all that time ago? But it is what it is. What do you do?
Oh, well, that's it. So you bought the franchise with intention to be the director and help agents or established agent develop?
Correct, yeah.
They didn't want to jump on board initially, so you have to put yourself out there?
Yeah.
Which, of course, is the best leadership, I believe. Like, you do yourself, you show them, you naturally attract them.
Of course, yeah.
And now that you have a team, how many people you have right now?
So I got three boys working with me.
Yes.
Then my office, I've got about 13 people working in the office.
Nice.
Yeah.
Double Bay, Wallara, and Randwick.
Correct, yeah. We've got a couple of offices, yeah.
Damn. In 3 years.
In 3 years.
Mate, well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Pumping, and I know the boys, they're very helpful. Actually, we need to go to one of your inspections soon.
Oh yeah, we probably have to run. Yeah, of course.
Okay, mate. Fantastic. Great lessons right there. I'll ask you the last couple of questions, and I'll let you go. The first question is, for someone who has been selling and struggle to build a team, because you got 3 offices in 3 years and you were struggling to recruit one person at the start.
At the time, yeah.
As a coach and develop someone, what is the best tip that would you give to someone who wants to expand his team?
So it's interesting you say that, because the biggest thing that worked for me is I had people with me. Like I don't know, like I think it's a team sport, first time every time. Like there's no doubts about that, right? So the biggest challenge I feel like people have, and it's a challenge I had when I was younger, is like I was fearful to go and spend 60, 70 grand to get a team member. For me, I was so lucky that I'd learned all the hard lessons back then.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started in sales, I was like, I'm going to get a team. So I recruited one guy, started working with me. We had high energy. I worked hard. He worked hard because obviously I was doing it. But then I got another one. Then I got another one, and now we're all hustling. Like the reason why I'm putting on sales associates is so that they become future salespeople. So they learn from me, they learn how I do it, they learn about the pace I work at, and then they'll spiral out and become their own sales agents, hopefully within our brand and continue with us. But the challenge I see a lot of agents who have got all the talent, all the potential, they're just scared to spend the 60 grand, and that's like that's the first thing. Just do it. Just get it done. Once you do it, like 60 grand is probably one really good sale. Yeah. Maybe 2-3 sales. Yeah. You can make your money back really quickly. Yeah. And it brings your brain from an employee to an employer. And you instantly act differently and better, hopefully.
Love that. Mate, thank you. Last question. This is for the buyers that want to buy real estate.
Tell me.
They're concerned and interest rate is moving and Donald Trump is saying this, and now was the election a few weeks ago. So what's your tip for someone who wants to buy a property but they don't know? Yes, of course, buyer's agent. Thanks. But,
no, of course. But so this is, I feel like I'm probably good to answer this question, because my thoughts are, like, the first time I bought, I was scared shitless. I was putting all my money, and I was young, and I didn't have any backing. Like I couldn't go to mum and dad and say, hey, can I borrow cash? Yeah. It was all on me. My thoughts are, I made that decision, I bought, and I've never looked back. And I'm shit, if I could own 300 properties, I would. Yeah. But like, it's just take the leap of faith, buy. Real estate, generally, depending on what you buy, only goes north. And if you don't sell it, it just keeps paying your money, dividend every single week in rent. So I feel like it's the best asset class. It's the only asset class I know. Yeah. And it's just get it done. Like, you never look back.
If you can afford it, buy. Try to
even
get
if you can't afford it, man, make yourself afford it. Like, put a plan in place.
There is a reason it's called a good debt.
It's the best debt.
Growing in value. Mate, thank you. If people want to contact you, where they can find you, Instagram, emails, LJ Hooker Double Bay, they can just Google you and you come up.
That's it.
Mate, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much. Grazie.
Grazie. This is general advice and does not take into account your objectives, situations, or needs. You should consider if this advice is suitable to you and your personal circumstances. Please read any applicable PDS beforehand.